Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. This is going to be my May show and tell. If you're new to my channel and you don't know what my May show and tell is all about, it's basically a monthly favorites video. Although I like to talk about just basically anything and everything I feel like talking about. So these videos tend to be a little bit long. Think of them like a monthly recap. Everything I've been up to, sometimes good, sometimes but we're gonna get right into it. I like to kickstart this video with memories, and I have a very special memory I want to share with you guys. I'm going to, you know what? I'm just gonna share the video clips. Let me roll that footage. Look where we are!
Hello, everybody.
Hello! We are at Cirque du Soleil at Alegria.
Because we're at Cirque du Soleil.
How did that happen?
It's in Vancouver.
What is this like?
Cirque du Soleil is in Vancouver this weekend because you guys are, well, one person in particular, we were given tickets.
Somebody reached out to us.
You were given tickets. I get tickets to come along
for the ride. Peggy's never been to Cirque du Soleil, and
I've
we heard from Sophie, one of our subscribers who works for Cirque du Soleil. Yeah. And reached out to us and offered to send us for the day.
Yeah,
she had tickets.
They do the thing.
I'm so awkward about this. I don't even know how to say it.
A lot of companies will give, you know, like if you work for an entertainment venue, they will quite often give the employees tickets to give to their friends and family. And she chose us. What? Lisa. She chose Lisa.
And Peggy's never been, so I'm so excited.
Been. This is going to be fun. We might do a little bit of our starstruck reaction after.
We'll definitely share what we think after the show. But I'm most excited for Peggy's reaction. I've been to Cirque du Soleil twice.
Yeah.
Neither of time to this particular show, Alegria. But
oh, yeah, you have been twice.
Yeah, once a long time ago when I was like a teenager, I think, and then once more recently. But I'm so excited for Peggy to see it because I just think you're going to have so much fun.
Oh my God, this and the generosity to give us these tickets.
I screamed, you guys. I screamed.
Oh my God, she's like,
I was like, get in here.
Okay. I'm in the bathroom. And she's going, come here. And I'm like,
I was freaking out.
Do I have to? Is there an emergency? What do I do?
No emergency. I was like, you have to see this email, but it was the sweetest thing, and I'm hoping we get a chance.
We're very grateful.
We're very grateful. I lost my mind. So, well, guys, we are going to go.
Look behind us. Look behind us. Look behind us, guys.
Look, all the geese. Canada geese. Oh my God. That is amazing.
They go.
We're gonna go get checked in, pick up our tickets, get settled, and we'll report back. Okay, bye. Sophie, thank you so much.
Yes,
we had
thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome. So generous of you to give us those tickets.
And it was your first time ever.
It was my first time. I had a blast. Everything was perfect.
It was amazing. I like zero
Everything
complaints.
was perfect. If you ever get a chance to go see Cirque du Soleil, go see it. We didn't even know they were in the area, so it was like this was like an amazing surprise.
It was so amazing. Anyway, we just wanted to say thank you again.
And Lisa got jammies.
I got a Cirque du Soleil.
She got a very long shirt that she's gonna use as pajamas.
It's a night shirt. Let's be honest.
She's gonna use it as a night shirt.
I'm excited. I'll show that off.
So we had a souvenir. We had a great time. Every next thing was better than the one before it. That was nice. Every act was great.
Suffice to say, Peggy and I had an incredible time at Cirque du Soleil. It was such a fun, unexpected, overwhelmingly humbling experience to have somebody reach out and do something so special for us. Cirque du Soleil is one of my favorite places or things to do in the whole world. I just go into this awe-struck mode whenever I see performances like that, and Cirque du Soleil is really special. It's wonderful music, just a transportive. That's a word I'm using a lot lately, so I'm being self-conscious about it. But it's really, truly a transportive experience. If you've never had a chance to go see a show and you do get a chance, please go check it out. I don't think you'll regret it. It's just one of those things that it's incredibly memorable, and I'm so grateful to have a memory of the show from this year to think about, to look back on. I just feel incredibly, incredibly blessed. And Peggy had an amazing time and would like to go again. In my opinion, that's a big win because Peggy, between the two of us, I'm definitely more into shows and such. While I would say that memory definitely tops the list, Peggy and I did get to do a couple of other fun things in May. Among those was we got to have the boys over and have dinner, and we watched not the Amazing Spider-Man No Way Home. We watched that. And it was really nice. It was a really nice kind of cozy evening. So that pretty much caps off, I think, all of the memories I really wanted to share for May. There's been a lot of other little things, but those are like the standouts for me. Let's get into YouTube-y things. So first off, my good friend Marlena Teresa started her own YouTube channel. If you watched the Thoth study group live stream that I did with my friends Dawn Michelle, Marlena, and Danny Mystic. You'll of course met Marlena then, but she started her own YouTube channel. She's got a couple fun series that she's started, including a Why I Tarot and Why I Oracle series that are super fun to watch. Definitely encourage you to go check those out. But the highlight of my month from her channel specifically was when she did a video with her daughter Rory, and they did a reading. Well, Rory did a reading, and it was absolutely the most charming thing I've seen. I shared it on my community tab, so some of you may have already seen it, but if you haven't, I will definitely have a link to it down below. It was incredible and so sweet. I hope there's a chance to see more videos like that from Rory and maybe from other people in the TarotTube community who are comfy doing such a thing, but it was just wonderful in every possible way. So one of those things you can't just not be grinning like ear to ear while you're watching it. So Rory, if you're watching this, hi Rory! And of course, make sure to subscribe to Marlena while you're there. A couple of other really fun and exciting things from YouTube for May would be 3 Fat Readers. That is the collab channel with myself, Danny Mystic, and Dustin of Modern Metaphysique. We have a collab channel called 3 Fat Readers, and we turned 3 in May, and it snuck up on us. It's really hard to imagine that we've been doing that channel for 3 years, but we love getting together. We get together once a month, do a live stream. It's really fun and casual. It's just the 3 of us friends talking, and we have such a good time. So if you are not subscribed to 3 Fat Readers, make sure you're subscribed. I always have a link to 3 Fat Readers in the description box down below, so you can check that out. But we just love talking tarot, and we talk the same way we talk to each other all the time. So it's just like we happen to turn the camera on for it once a month, which it's really fun. And if you don't know, we all have wildly different tastes. Well, I have wildly different tastes. Danny and Dustin's are a little closer together, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's fun to get our different perspectives. And it's just, yeah, I think we're all really proud of 3 Fat Readers and sort of the kind of conversations we have over there, and it's a lot of fun. So we only do a stream about once a month. If you want to be in the loop, make sure you're subscribed over there and that you've clicked the bell and done all the things so you get the notifications. Another new thing that kicked off in May was Peggy put some content up on her channel. If you don't know, her channel's name right now is Peggy's Ponderings. She may or may not update that in the future, but she, after a lot of prodding from a lot of us, has done some sewing tutorial things. So if you want to find out how to make a quilted tarot mat, more on that in a moment, because I definitely have that to show in my favorites. If you want to see more about that, I will have those videos linked down below, but she did a part 1 and a part 2 of a really simple basic beginner quilting project you can do, and she walks you through the entire process in 2 videos, start to finish. I have been wanting her to make sewing videos for so long. It's like my personal ASMR because I love the sound of the sewing machine and I love the sound of her voice, and I can now like put it on and go to sleep. Is that creepy? That might be creepy. Maybe I shouldn't have put that on the internet. We'll see if I leave this in. But I'm really excited that she's doing it. And I would be completely lying to all of you if I didn't say that the channel I watched the most in May was Emily D. Baker. I will scroll through a little bit of her content. Emily D. Baker is a legal commentator, former district attorney, and I started watching her quite a long time ago, actually. I want to say it was like a year and a half ago. I first found her channel, stumbled on it through the makeup YouTube community, and started watching her legal commentary on some stuff that was going down, some makeup tube drama, and started watching her back then. Well, she covered the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case. Obviously that was taking over all of May, and I got completely sucked into her commentary, started watching it a lot, like a lot. So I watched a lot of her channel in May. That is thankfully all finished now, and I can do other things with my time, but I was really into it for a little bit there. So I was watching it. I find her commentary to be really fair and really unbiased, and also really informative in this friendly, chatty way. If you're at all even remotely curious about the law, I find Emily's channel to be really accessible, and it's kind of interesting to hear commentary on stuff that's happening, especially something that's happening in the public, so publicly, like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, but get commentary from somebody who doesn't really have skin in the game from a opinion standpoint and is coming at it from the position of explaining the law around it all. I just found that really fascinating, and that's why I enjoyed watching her channel when I first started watching it back when whatever makeup tube drama was happening. I think it had something to do with Toddy Westbrook. I think that's when I started watching her. But anyway, point being, I really enjoy her channel. If you're curious about law, or she comments on a lot of very popular or well-known legal cases, but it's interesting. She covered a lot of things around the Britney Spears conservatorship, which was also really interesting. So yeah, anyways, I know it's not tarot related and it's not makeup related, but there's some weird crossovers for me that's been really, really interesting to watch her channel. So I watched it a ton in May. This is my confession. I'm moving on now. Speaking of watching things and other guilty pleasures, I got completely sucked in. Now this one I blame Marlena, Teresa for, actually, because she mentioned something very much in passing in our group chat. I have a group chat with obviously her and Danny and Dawn. She mentioned something completely in passing about this show, Love is Blind. I'm very out of the loop with TV because I don't watch very much of it normally, but she mentioned Love is Blind and the premise, and I thought it was really interesting. So next thing you know, I have binge watched both seasons of Love is Blind on Netflix. I have not watched the original Japanese season yet, but I probably will. It was completely guilty pleasure television watching. It was really good though. I got really, really sucked into it. I think it got a little formulaic by the time I'd watched the second season, but it was fun. I think that's actually it for me for TV in May. I really just was watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of LawTube, a lot of Emily D. Baker. I said I was moving on. I'm moving on now, I promise. Okay, so this is the point in my monthly favorites where I start to talk about makeup and beauty things. If this is not your jam, I totally get it. There are timestamps down below, which is true of any section in here. You can skip to whatever section you want to watch. I'm going to talk about makeup just a little bit. I don't have a ton this month because I think I only did my nails. I said males. I think I only did my nails once in May, and I did get a lot of comments on the polish. This is the one I was wearing, and it's this gorgeous purple hollow Zoya polish. By the way, I have had a ton of recommendations. Sorry, let me tell you the name of this one first. This one's called Aurora. I'm sure I've shown it before. I don't have a very huge nail polish collection, but this is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. And it has this sparkle. When you see this in natural light, I don't know if the camera will pick up the hollow of it. I might be able to get a little bit of it if I tip it just right. But I love these kinds of polishes when they hit the direct sun because they just glimmer, and they glimmer in this like rainbowy color. It's gorgeous. This is such a pretty color, but I'm pretty sure I let my nails breathe after this for 3 weeks. I just did them for the first time again, and it's June when I'm filming this. So we'll talk about this in June. But the other thing I've been really enjoying is caring for my nails. And this cuticle oil is going to last me forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But it is wonderful. Now before this, and I'll talk about the brand and stuff in a second. Before this, the only cuticle oil I'd really ever been exposed to is the solar oil, which you can find at the drugstore, and it was often at the nail places I used to go to. But I heard somebody recommend this particular brand, and it smells so good. I just want to put it on all the time, and this is a good thing with cuticle oil because you should be putting it on a lot. The brand is Cuccio Natural, and the scent of this one is milk and honey, and oh my gosh, it is lovely, and the bottle is giant. So I'm pretty sure somewhere on this bottle it says how big. It's got to be at least an ounce. It's got to be more than an ounce. 2.5 ounces, 2.5 fluid ounces. But yeah, this is what the bottle looks like. It smells so good, and this bottle has like one of those tippy things, you know, so you can set it at an angle or sit it upright. But I don't actually apply from this bottle, and I got this trick from a YouTuber. I got a pack of these nail brush pens. I don't know what these are called. I will link these down below. I got these from Amazon. I got like a 5-pack, and I filled all of them up with that cuticle oil, and it's basically got like a brush tip applicator, and this is fantastic because you basically just twist it up. Oh, why not? And just put it, I'm just going to do it right now. It's fine. We're not filming a video. It's okay. I can get everything all oily. But I just brush it up and then brush it on all my cuticles and then just rub it in. It's so convenient. So I filled up, I think I filled up 1, 2, 3. I think I filled up 4 of them because I have one in my bag. No, wait. I have one by my bed back there. I have one by my laptop. I have one at work. Maybe I just have the 3. Oh, and then I have one in the bathroom, so that's 4. So I've got one that I don't think I filled yet. But it's so convenient to just have them handy. I haven't had one leak or spill or anything. It's a little bit of a pain to get the little brush part off and then fill it. And I'm going to have to look up. There is a trick to getting it back off again to refill. They sell them like they're not refillable. They're totally refillable. You just have to like basically pry the top part off. Anyways, these are super convenient. I'm sure there's other uses for this kind of a thing too, but for cuticle oil, it's perfection. And I love this. It's such a great life hack if you use cuticle oil. My cuticles are always really, really dry, and I've been trying to work at not like chewing at them and picking at them, which is something I've had a bad habit of doing my entire life. And I've been doing really, really well, but this is partly why. Every time they start to bug me, I just like slather them in cuticle oil and it gets better. Something else, this has become like a holy grail product for me. I can't imagine ever buying another primer ever again, but this is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So this is not, to me, this is not what it sounds like. When you hear when I heard putty primer, I thought this was going to be a really like thick, like heavy product, and it is not heavy at all. So I've used almost this like entire jar. Like we're seeing through the bottom now. This feels like skincare. It feels hydrating, but it's got a little bit of like slip to it. So it's probably got some silicone in there. It is like, I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand. It is like really, really super smooth. And what I find this does really, really well is I just literally put it all over, but I concentrate it wherever I have like larger pores. My pores are very visible typically. And it does feel like it works a little bit like that. What was that old one that was really popular? It was like a pore filling primer. Everybody was talking about it. Somebody's going to be yelling at their TV right now, or their Dove Ice or whatever they're watching this on. Comment down below if you know which one I'm talking about. I'm probably going to get a bunch, but comment down below. There was another one, but it felt thicker like I thought this was going to be. This is the original, not the, there's a hydrating one and there's a more matte one, I think. This regular one is like the best one, in my opinion. But it feels really moisturizing. My makeup goes on really nice over top of it. I haven't had any makeup or other things like pill or do weird things on top of this. It's just been no fail, and it's so easy. It's so easy to apply. I've applied it with a brush. I've applied it with my fingers. It doesn't seem to matter. Sponge, anything. It's so easy. Love that. And I'm not a big primer person. I'm like, I want my makeup to be no fuss, and that helps it be very no fuss. I just spread that on, and then I'm good to go with my next steps. Eyeshadow, and then we'll move on for makeup, I promise. Okay, so I only used 2 eyeshadow palettes in May. The first of them was this ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. It's this really pretty, it's funny because I think of this as a cool toned palette, but actually it's not. It's kind of got some cool tones. I love. Basically, I do the same thing every time I wear this palette, basically. I put this light color all over. I use that as a transition. Where's my other color? I use this color. What is this color? Shell, yeah, this kind of like pinky brown. I use this in the crease, blend it out. I deepen the outer corner with this really, really dark chocolate brown. And then I usually will use this color right here on the outer half of my lid, and then this really pretty color right here in the center. This color makes the whole palette. Yes, I'm swatching again. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but look at how like smooth and creamy and like reflective that is. I think it's one of their, I think it might be their Super Shock. Look at how, oh my God, I'm choking on my words. Look at how pretty that is. It's a gorgeous color. It makes the whole palette worth it, in my opinion. But look at it, it's so shiny. Okay, so I wore that like once. But then every other eyeshadow look I did in May, because I was working on focusing on this palette, I used the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I love this palette. It's all purples and pretty. Purples and pretty. Yep, that pretty much sums it up. Really, really gorgeous colors in here. These are what the shadows look like. I think you can still get this. This month, I kind of forced myself out of my comfort zone. I did a couple things that I hadn't done before. I did a look featuring this really hot pink in the center, and I think I actually mixed, if I remember correctly, I used this hot pink, and then I think I actually came over here to that, see if I can get it to focus. There we go, to that color to kind of balance it out. So I like to do 2 shimmers on my eyelids. So I think I did this on the inner part of my eyelid and this on the outer part of my eyelid. And then I believe I use these pinkier browns to build the matte eyeshadow look. And then I also did a really, really cool toned look with these. I love using these 3 outer shades and a little bit of this taupey purple here. I feel like I used almost every shade in the palette. I definitely did do a copper look at one point. I just can't remember. It's not showing up very coppery. Oh, that's right. It's down here. These 2 colors. See, oh, that's so weird. Okay, so this is a duochrome color. So I don't know if you can tell. So this is a gold. This looks pink, but if you get it in the light, it goes kind of copper. It's like a pink copper duochrome. It's so pretty. This one here is also a duochrome, so it's green and kind of like pink. I'm going to swatch this one too, just so you can kind of see what it does. It's really cool. It's another duochrome. I really like duochromes, but I don't necessarily like the really strong duochrome. It might just look berry on my hand. So this is the duochrome. It just kind of goes more reddish. It's really pretty. Okay. That's probably enough makeup talk. I'm sorry. Okay. If you were waiting for the makeup talk to be over, it is now over. Let's talk briefly about food. So the first thing is actually something I meant to mention in April because I went in April, but I really want to mention it. And it is a fun Mexican restaurant that I went to with a friend called Limon y Sal, which is lime and salt or lemon and salt. My Spanish is rusty, y'all, but it was really, really good. I had some amazing tacos. And then everything else I have here, everything else I have written down for food, I got at the grocery store or we made here at home. Muscat is a wine I've had and really, really enjoyed in the past. And we were at the grocery store, one of the fancier Safeways in this area, and we found Muscat grapes. And I was like, well, I have to try these. Brought them home. They were so good, but they were really unique. And I couldn't stop thinking about the wine while I ate them. And while I did really enjoy them, I don't know that I would get them again if for no other reason than I kept expecting it to be the wine. And it was a very similar flavor. If you've had Muscat wine, you know kind of the flavor. But they were really good. They were really good and really unique. I'm so glad I tried them. I'm just not sure if I would like get them every year or something. I imagine that their season is very short because I only saw them the once and never again. But I'm really, really glad. First of all, proud of myself for being adventurous and trying them. Second of all, really enjoyed them when I did have them. But it's this weird thing where like it tastes too similar to something else and I kept expecting it to be that other thing. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but that's what it was like eating those. Also, Peggy and I picked up, those take home and bake cookies. Pillsbury had a limited edition cinnamon toast crunch, and it looked in the package like it was going to be a snickerdoodle, basically snickerdoodles. And for whatever reason, snickerdoodles don't seem to be a thing in Canada, at least not in BC, and I miss them. Snickerdoodles are a basic cookie. They're very easy to make yourself. I apparently am just lazy and don't want to bake them. But a snickerdoodle is essentially, if you don't know, it's essentially a sugar cookie with like a cinnamon sugary kind of topping kind of baked into it. It's a simple cookie, but I really like them. Anyways, these limited edition cinnamon toast crunch cookies were exactly like snickerdoodles, only they were a little bit better. So they come out of this package and they look like they've got hard, like big chunks of something in them. And I was really worried they were going to have like hard, crunchy bits in them. No. Do you know what the chunks were? They were basically like butter and cinnamon and sugar and brown sugar, I think all mixed together into little chunky lumps kind of embedded in these sugar cookies, so that when they baked, there were these like, it kind of like swirled all throughout and you got this delicious cinnamony good. They were like snickerdoodles, but even a little bit better. They were so, so good and they came out perfect. I really want to get them again. I haven't gone looking because I might want to buy 5 or 6 packs and that's just ridiculous, but like they were really tasty. I might have to get them again. I was really bummed that they were listed as limited edition. It's not fair. And the last food thing I want to talk about is Peggy and I went to Costco and we picked up these lemon ricotta ravioli. And then we brought them home and Peggy made an incredible lemon butter sauce to go with the lemon ricotta ravioli. But when she made this sauce, first we bought some raw pine nuts. She toasted the pine nuts and then she did the lemon juice and the butter and like, I don't know, she made magic. She made magic happen in the pan with the lemon and the butter. And she cooked these Argentinian prawns in this lemon butter deliciousness, which is pretty much our favorite thing ever. Argentinian prawns are distinctive because they look pink even though when they're raw, and they are very sweet. They are like, to me, they are tastier than lobster. I would rather have a bunch of those than like a big lobster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so good. So good if you like seafood. They're incredible. So we had these like Argentinian prawns in this lemon butter with these ravioli that were lemon ricotta with pine nuts. And it was, I mean, momentary not family friendly moment, so cover your ears, but like it was sex on a plate. I mean, that's what it was. I don't want to pretend it was something else because it was so good. It was so good. We may have had it twice in May. Twice. Delicious. It will happen again. We have pine nuts in the fridge. We'll just get some more Argentinian prawns. I have a lemon. I have butter in the fridge. This is happening again and probably soon because it was incredible. And it was so easy. And she made it the first time. I made it the second time. Hers was better. But I'd forgotten to toast the pine nuts in a little. She toasted them in a little bit of butter. Like it's maybe saute, I guess. Kind of saute toast. I'm not a cooking person, so my terminologies might not be right. But oh my God, it was so, so good. It is that time. We are talking about random things. Random, wonderful, amazing things. A little bit of a shop update from Peggy's shop because I tend to talk about her stuff in this section anyway. So like, I'm just going to throw this in here. After much prompting and bugging and poking from me, Peggy has updated the size of her micro pouches. They used to be just a little bit smaller than the size they are now. If you haven't seen these pocket pouches, they're super cute. They have like a little ribbon closure wrap around and then this little pocket. They were just a little undersized for the mini decks that you can get online for a lot of our favorite decks. So these ones, these like little what do you call these? Little, I was going to say pocket. These little mini decks, which are smaller than tarot in a tin, you can get them for a lot of decks now. There's like a bunch of them. Peggy has a few. She has this Witch's Tarot. She also has this Gilded Tarot. They're these like little cute ones. I have the Everyday Witch Tarot. Anyway, she has slightly updated the size of these micro pocket pouches now so that they fit. Okay, I'm doing it in the box. It's kind of silly because I'm guessing most people would take it out of the box, but it does fit in the box. It now holds these little micro decks. Look at how cute that is. So if you have a little baby mini deck, these are now sized to fit them. I'm just really excited that she is finally making these to fit those little decks because they're all over the place and like we want to be able to like pack them up and put them in our bags and things. And I'm not a fan of tuck boxes. So if it comes in a tuck box, I want to be able to put it in a bag, and these are the perfect size. So I wanted to let you guys know that the ones going up in her shop from now on, are this size. Just for a little bit of a comparison. This is the micro pouch, which has the little ribbon wraparound. And then this is her mini pocket pouch. So the mini, this pouch in the back, the mini, is sized for like poker size decks. This is great for like Lenormand decks, that sort of thing. This one holds those little mini decks. So it's a size down, holds them really, really nicely. Obviously in or out of their little tuck boxes, but just so you kind of see what the difference is. Going up from here, she has her small pocket pouches, and those are perfect for like Llewellyn size decks, tuck box size decks, and then standard, which is for standard size decks. Plug aside, well, there's another one coming because I have something else to show off, but that was a change I was really excited about because honestly, I have been bugging her from the beginning to size them up just a little, I do have one that just barely was big enough, barely, for me to squeeze my Everyday Witch Mini into it. So I secretly have one that's a very snug fit for my Everyday Witch Mini that's been kicking around in my bag, but it was hit or miss. Sometimes these decks would barely slide in and sometimes not, and it was so tight that it was like, ugh. So she's fixed it. She sized it up. So I thought I'd tell you guys. But what I normally talk about in this section is whatever 2-pocket pouch I was using for the month. So if you guys don't know, I have a few of these from Peggy's shop, and I don't get them from Peggy's shop. Well, I mean, I do. She creates them for the shop, and then I steal them. That's how I end up with them. I love these so much because I can usually put whatever tarot and oracle deck side by side that I'm working with. And then I have a little reading cloth, which is great because I tend to do my daily readings on the go. And there's a second pocket in the back. So what's great about this is you can slide a book or whatever in the back. I tend to put my 2 decks in the front and bundle it all up, and everything stays tidy and it stays together. This is the one I was using in May. It just felt very spring-like. So this is the one I was using. She'll be putting more of these up soon, so keep an eye on the shop. She does put these up in the shop regularly. Her shop updates are typically Thursday. One more favorite that's related to Peggy stuff. You guys, I'm such a shill, and it's not, I'm also such a fan of my wife's work, so I hope it's not too obnoxious to watch, but I do use her stuff all the time. She also surprised me in May, and all of you guys, with these new incredibly breathtaking, I'm going to make sure it's upright, stunning quilted tarot mats. So we did a giveaway actually in May for one of these, and she made me one that was special. So she did all this really beautiful free motion quilting all the way around it, which is all these like swirls you can see with the thread. Only what she did with mine, let me see if I can find the first one here. She snuck hearts into mine, which was so cute and sweet and romantic. So here's a double heart right there that she snuck in with the quilting, which it's just a fun Easter egg that's there just for me. These are freaking fantastic. They take her a while. Her and Rose have been working on these. And she did a tutorial. So this is the tutorial. This is the thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video. She did a tutorial on how to make these for yourself. They do take a little bit of time. She is going to be making some for the shop with Rose's help. So more on that in a second. But she ended up, the one that she did for the tutorial was also for me. They are amazing. This is the other one. Look at it. It's got all these like adorable unicorns and like these really sweet sayings. Like it talks about choose joy, your light, love large, you are enough. Oh, I'm covering the microphone. You are enough. Hopefully you could hear all that. It was muffled because my hand was over my microphone. Anyway, so this is the other one that she made for me. And of course the back is also usable and it's just a solid color. These are fantastic, and they are the perfect size for Celtic Cross spread, so they hold a pretty good amount of cards. I tend to keep mine gently folded up into 4s, but it's really padded, so like you could put this on a more uneven surface and feel like your cards are really protected, which I love. So I've got 2 of those. Those are definitely favorites. Also, She can't reserve them for anybody because they're going to be so infrequently put into the shop. But I did ask her before I sat down to film this video, and her and Rose are working on a few to go up this Thursday. So if you're watching this video when I put it out on Tuesday, in 2 days, she's going to be putting some up in the shop. First come, first serve. I can't tell you the exact time that everything will go up on Thursday, so just keep an eye on the shop on Thursday evening, Pacific time, because that's typically when she loads up new listings, and a couple of those will be going up, I think, in the Moon fabric, and I think they might have 1 or 2 others in the works. So not a lot, because they're a little more time consuming, but she does hope to get a couple of those up in a couple of days, so keep your eyes peeled. Other random things. Oh my gosh, wait until I show you. I'm so excited about this. So if you remember my little fox crochet project from, was that April? I think that was April. Look what I made in May. Aren't they the cutest, most adorable things ever? So I have been all into amigurumi, which are basically crocheted toys. Hello, I am so proud of these little guys. So I crocheted both of them in May. I ended up I was only going to make one, but as I was making one, I ended up making the same color for its bottom part, its little belly, and it's supposed to be a contrasting color. So then I just made a second belly, and I'm like, well, I might as well just do them swapsies. So I have 2 sets. I love them so much. So currently they're actually hanging on my little doorknobs. I may gift one of them. I've got a thought about that, but we'll see. We'll see if they stay with me or one of them goes on to find a new home. I'm definitely keeping one of them. We shall see. But this was a lot of fun, and the pattern came from a book that I found out about and ordered, I think in early May. Whimsical Stitches. I might have actually ordered this at the end of April. This is a fantastic book. I feel like this is hard to find. I feel like I had to do some rigmarole to get this in. There is a follow-up book by the same creator that I also have, but I haven't made any of the patterns yet. But Whimsical Stitches has, oh, this is the one I'm going to make next. It's a turtle, isn't it so cute? I'll show you the neat thing about this is it's very picture heavy. So there's like pictures for like all the different steps, which is amazing. And pictures for all the different kinds of stitches. So if you want to learn how to make a magic ring, which you need to do if you're going to make amigurumi, there's a whale, and they even have a little narwhal modifier, so you can make it into a narwhal. Where is I was going to show you the jellyfish. There's also some food in here, which is really cute. Okay, there's these adorable cupcakes, or are these ice creams? They might be ice creams. Nope, they're cupcakes. I don't have a good color for the bottom parts of the cupcakes yet. I need to get some yarn that'll be good for that kind of that kind of sandy brown color. A lot of my colors are very like not realistic, like neon-y colors. So I'm not going to make any cupcakes yet, although I may make some macarons. Well, let me just show you all the foods. So these are all the different foods that are in this book. And see, here's the picture of the jellyfish. Okay, so here's the aquarium critters. Here's the farm animal critters you can make. And there are even little eggs. You see this? They're like little eggs. And look at the fat duck. I think I might make the pig and the cow. We'll see. I definitely want to. And then there's a bunch of plants, but I definitely need different colored yarn for the plants because I don't have any greens that look like real, like plant kind of greens. But look at the plants you can make. Aren't they cute? Okay. This has just turned into a Whimsical Stitches show and tell. I'm really excited. But she has another book. Lauren Espy is the name of this creator. She has another book. I forget the name of it. I have it in my cupboard. But again, I haven't used it yet. But it's all food-based. So this one is like a mix of animals, plants, foods. The other one is very foods. I'm trying to practice simpler patterns, which these seem to be, so that I can work my way up to more fancy toys. Because there's a couple of books I have on my wish list that are for like fancier dragons and unicorns and things. But I need to like work on like basic shapes first and like get used to these and then see where I end up. But I'm very excited about amigurumi, and I've been really enjoying doing some crochet. That is it for randoms. Let me get into books. I'm currently working through our Unicorn Fam channel member book club book, which is The Stars Within You. But alongside that, I read Astro Poets, Your Guides to the Zodiac. This is by, oh gosh, Alex Dimitrov and Dorothy Lasky. I'm probably saying those names wrong. This was a really fun read. I don't think it's something I'm going to keep, but it's a very conversational, horoscopy kind of look at all of the different zodiac signs. And it's got it's got some swears in here. It's got some like more adult themes, but generally what I like about it is it feels very modern and fresh, and there's a whole section for each sign, what it's like to text with that sign. It was a lot of fun to read through. It feels more horoscopy, if that makes sense, but it was fun. It's not one that I'm like, oh, rush out and grab it. But I would say if you like that sort of fun, modern take on astrology, something that kind of feels tonally like something you'd read in like a modern magazine about the different signs and like what they're like, or if you just want a general feeling for what the 12 signs are like personality wise, this can be kind of fun. It talks about kind of what each sign is like generally, what each sign is like as a friend, as a lover, and it's interesting. It was fun. I'm not overwhelmed by it. Like I'd give it like 2.5 out of 5 stars, or 3, like a middle of the road, like 2.5, 3 stars out of 5. It was fun. It was what it was, but yeah, I was all in astrology in May, so it was like thematically appropriate. That brings us to Happy Mail, which crosses over into decks because my Happy Mail was decks. So I'm going to talk about a couple of decks that came via Happy Mail. So a really lovely person sent me 2 decks in May, and I've gotten a chance to look at one more thoroughly than the other. So the first one I want to talk about is in this special pouch. This was when Peggy was experimenting with, I've had this like pouch forever. It's like what Peggy's first prototype for pocket pouches. So it's a little bit different than the one she makes now, but it's the perfect size for this deck. So this is the Atlantis Tarot by Akira Zosens. So I ended up sitting down and filming a full walkthrough of this deck as part of a VR I filmed to Candy Soul and Soil's top 10 curiosity decks, because this is a really cool handmade, hand cut, hand printed, hand embellished tarot deck. It's super interesting, and this was sent to me again very generously as a gift, and I'm so excited to have it and to be playing with it. So that is the Atlantis Tarot. So keep an eye out for my VR. I think it's coming out once I'm done editing it. I think it's coming out this week, question mark, when you're seeing this. It's coming out soonish. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. It might be out on Thursday. We'll see. We'll see how my editing goes. But the Tarot of Atlantis. So I showed the entire deck, every single card in that video. But I'm really, really excited to have this and be able to play with it. And then this same very kind person also sent me a copy of the Fat Folks Tarot. Now, if you know a lot about this project, I would love to hear from you down below if you know. Is this coming back? Because it seems like a reprint was planned, but then now it seems like the website is down and the Instagram account isn't active, and I don't know what the story is here. But when this was available for pre-order, I did not pre-order it because it's a collaborative deck, and I didn't think I would like it because collaborative decks and me typically don't get along. But oh my gosh, you guys, like, to see these bodies represented in this way, it's a very like obviously body inclusive, gender inclusive kind of deck. And it's really beautiful. I have a feeling I'm going to be able to get past the collaborative art and really get to know this deck. I have not filmed any kind of a walkthrough of this, but I'm so excited that it came to me, and it was a really, really sweet and generous gift because, again, I don't know if you can even get this right now. I don't know if you'll ever be able to get this now that it's like already been out and done. But I'm so happy to have it in my hands. Let me talk now about the decks I worked with in May. So I started off May, it was like Beltane season. I started off the very beginning of the month wanting to really get into those Beltane vibes. So I pulled out my Tarot of the She, which feels very tied to that time of year. It's not the only time of year I work with this deck. I love this deck. My copy of it is trimmed. Let's see if I can get it out of the glare. I love the words that are on the deck, so I only trimmed the sides and then corner rounded it. But like here we have Dreamer 9, which is the 9 of Swords, and it's Nightmare. I also find the quartz are really special in this deck, so if you struggle with the quartz, this might be a good one to experiment with. If you like this art style or you feel drawn to this deck, I think it's worth a look. I think there's something really, really special about it. There's something very wild and raw, and wild is probably the best word for it, but there's something really powerful about this particular artwork. It has it's very powerful. Web of Mirrors for the 8 of Swords, Dreamer 8. It's really, really good. Probably my favorite depiction of the Tower ever is in this deck. So I used this for the first week of May, and I paired it. Oh, and the other thing that makes this beautiful for the Beltane season is that in the Major Arcana, no, excuse me, in the minor arcana, there are these little poems for every single card, which just is really great if you're getting into that sort of Beltane, Brigid kind of energy. Being able to connect through words like that, it's just a very powerful deck, and it's mass market. It's good. But I used that next to the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. I didn't do a walkthrough or anything on this deck, as far as I can remember, but I really, really love it. It's got these really strong themes of honey and bees and such through the whole deck, which I really enjoyed. I did see some folks review it and say the bees and the honey was maybe a little much, but I really enjoyed the theming of this deck. It works really well. I have had no problems really easily bonding with and working with and getting powerful readings out of all of this series, the Seasons of the Witch Oracle deck series. I have all 3 of the Seasons of the Witch decks that are out right now. So I have Samhain, Yule, and now Beltane. I don't know which one is next. If you have a heads up on what's next, please tell me. I would love to know. But I really, really enjoyed working with it in May. It was a really nice way to kick off the spring. Then I moved into working with the Wildwood Tarot. So this was a deck that came back. It's a boomerang deck. And I think I actually got this back after I did my boomerang deck video, my second chance decks or whatever. I got rid of this deck a long time ago. The copy I had this really weird twisted bow. The cardstock was terrible. I didn't like the backs. They had like writing on them, like copyright on them. The new version that I got doesn't have that. And the cardstock is much nicer. It is, as you can tell, very, very glossy. But I'm also in a much different place with my tarot, my relationship with tarot, as I was when I first got this deck. And so it hits a lot different and a lot deeper now than it used to. I had such an incredible time working with this deck in May. I worked with it for half the month. So I worked with it, yeah, there was 5 full weeks of decks in May. So I worked with the Beltane and Tarot of the She. I worked with those decks, the Beltane, Seasons of the Witch, and the Tarot of the She. I worked with those the first week. I worked with the Wildwood for the 2 weeks that followed. And I had such an incredible experience. So the first week, I used the deck with the book that it came with. Let me grab it. So the first week, I used it with the Wildwood Tarot Guidebook. I'm not connected to this book very much at all. It's fine, but it just feels... it doesn't hit the way that I want it to hit. So I didn't have a great time working with the guidebook that it came with. But the first week that I worked with the Wildwood, I did pair it with a really special Oracle deck, and that is the Old Ways Magic Oracle. So I found out about this from Kelly. I think her channel is Ivy's Grove or Ivy's Cauldron. I'll link it down below. She told everybody about this deck when she came on for a live stream with Peggy and I here on the channel. This doesn't have a lot of cards, which normally is a deal breaker, but the artwork is stunning and the themes are really deep. There's strong Celtic mythology associations with this deck, but you don't have to dip into those if you don't want to. So for example, you have a card here. Let's just go with, let's go with Bounty. So you have the card here, Bounty. So you have a great expansive keyword, gorgeous artwork to dip into. This is it feels like a Game Crafter's linen cardstock. I could be wrong about that. But when you go into the guidebook and you look up Bounty, so this one is 24, page 24. It's not a very chunky guidebook or anything. But when you go to it, you see that there is usually some kind of an association with Celtic mythology. So here we have Artio. I don't know that I'm saying that right. Who is a Celtic goddess. She reminds us to balance the dark and the light in order to gather all the bounty the universe provides. And so it is at Mabon. We see this reflected again. We must equally embrace the light and dark to grow and transform. Now there are, if you look at the guidebook, it does associate certain cards with the various Sabbats of the Wheel of the Year. And the bounty card is associated with the Sabbat Lammas, and so are several cards that follow. So there is a really cool Wheel of the Year association with this deck. I think this could work really great as altar cards for deeper work, but I found that pulling one card and then reading about that message, considering that message, and then thinking about, and then drawing cards from the Wildwood Tarot to kind of springboard from that worked really well and powerfully for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I did that for a week. And then the next week, oh my gosh, my table's becoming such a mess. And then the next week I paired I used the Wildwood Tarot, but this time I used a different book. So I used A Year in the Wildwood. This is by Alison Cross. This is a print-on-demand book. Not a fan of the formatting. Like, the text is huge. Now that might not bother you, but it just felt too large, weirdly for me. Very easy to read though, but it organizes the Wildwood Tarot according to the Wheel of the Year. And the write-ups are very narrative, and they're really, really good. And you get this great correspondence chart that shows where the cards line up with the Wheel of the Year. I found out about this book because of Dawn Michelle Boho Tarot, who was talking about using the Wildwood Tarot for her Wheel of the Year tarot draws. And this was a great book. I will always use this book, I think, going forward with the Wildwood Tarot. So I used this book the second week, and I paired my Wildwood Tarot with the Woodland Wardens Oracle. And this was another really fantastic pairing. The two decks just spoke to each other really well. Oh, my Ladybug card's on the bottom. Look, it's Ladybug and Sweet Pea, and the keyword is happiness. This is a fantastic Oracle deck. The cardstock feels a little bit papery, but I find that the cards read really well. I love the way the guidebook is written. I really, really do. I was seriously tempted by this deck on Kelly of the Truth and Stories channel. She did a live walkthrough, and I was just like, I was in the live, and I was just getting really drawn in. This is one of my favorite cards, the Frog and the Lotus for Metamorphosis. Some really beautiful corresponding messages between the plant and the animal. And that part of this deck is done very, very well. The butterfly and the snowdrop, and the keyword for this card is hope. Really, really nice deck. The borders are like a little bit off-white, but they looked beautiful. These cards looked beautiful next to the Wildwood. And again, the two decks spoke to each other, I think, really well and kind of harmonized with each other really, really well. So that was an awesome pairing. So glad that I tried it because it turned out so, so well. The last tarot deck that I worked with in May was the tarot deck I worked with for another 2 weeks in May. And that is the Tarot of Vampires. You guys, now I need to edge this deck. This is an incredible deck. I'm not at all surprised. It's incredibly potent. What really blew me away about this deck, more than the gorgeous artwork and how well thought out it all is and how much symbolism is present in all of the cards, was the fact that the guidebook is incredibly well done. And I think, you know, if you've heard people talk about how good, this is the guidebook that comes with the Tarot of Vampires. It's called Phantasmagoria. This is an incredible primer to the deeper, more esoteric associations of the tarot. If the theme of the Tarot of Vampires is interesting to you, even in the slightest, I would definitely recommend picking it up because there are some incredible pieces of knowledge in this book. Before you even get into the card descriptions, there's a great section on numerology. There's also wonderful associations with the cardinal, mutable, and fixed signs of the zodiac. There's a great little section on the Kabbalah, including discussions of the Sephirot, as well as a little bit of information about the paths, the individual Sephirot, and you get a little write-up for each Sephirot, including, like, for example, well, let's pick one I can pronounce. Hod. So for Hod, which is the 8th one, it says it's associated with splendor, Mercury, which is the planet that rules that Sephirot, and 8s. So then there's a little paragraph about what that Sephirot has associated with it. What's so incredible about that is that it makes the Kabbalah very accessible. You can dive deeper, but it's an incredible reference tool. There's an entire bit of information here. If you've ever seen a Deccan wheel that talks about what each minor arcana card is associated with astrologically and date-wise, this actually has a really cool chart that gives you all of those correspondences for the decans. It doesn't, I don't think, talk about the decans. This is actually in a section of the book called Kith and Kin, where you come up with, you sort of look at your, it's got different names for it. What is it? I went through this whole section. Like, you've got a bloodline card, a dynasty card, your vampire clan, which is all very thematic with the deck, but all of these different things, the clan, the bloodline, the vampire court, all these things, they're related to your personal astrology and how it aligns with the tarot. It's a really cool section to go through. And then the actual card write-ups are wonderful. You will not find one single picture other than like basically the Kabbalah in this book. It is full card text and description and symbology until the very, very last page. And I mean, like, this is still write-up about a card, and that's literally like, that's literally the last page of the book. There is no fluff in here. It is 100% information, and it's very, very good. The Tarot of Vampires, in my opinion, is very well aligned with the Thoth Tarot, but it's also very well aligned with the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I think does a really beautiful job of merging the two. And I would argue that when you're going through the actual cards, the essence of the card gives you a hint at some of the esoteric meanings, as does the alchemy and kindred spirit stuff up here. The message feels much more Rider-Waite-Smith, and then the analysis and symbolism is where I start to see a lot more of the thought come through. That's just been my experience, but there is also a shadow meaning for every card. But this is the kind of deck that is just so incredibly thoughtful, because there is not one thing on any one of these cards that is not placed here for a purpose. Everything in the scene is there for a purpose. You will see planetary glyphs, you will see astrology, and the things happening in the scene align with the meaning of the card. In the Temperance card, I mean, we're going to go through it. Okay, so just keep an eye out, because I'm going to be doing a live sort of deep dive on this deck where we're going to kind of go through it together, and I'm going to talk through this deck in more detail, but there's a lot to it. And so just keep your eyes peeled. But that deck was a lot of fun to work with, and I used it next to another power duo, and that is the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine and the Wisdom of the Shadow. So if you saw my walkthrough of these decks, then you know that they completely blew me. Let me show you the backs. They completely blew me away. These decks are incredible, and they work so well together. Initially, I did try them with the Vampire Tarot. I tried them mixed together for a week, and that was okay. I did really, really enjoy it, but I had so much more fun when I separated them, and I would do 2 card draws. I would draw a shadow card, and then I would draw a Divine Feminine card, and I would sort of use this as what do I need to look at, and then how do I address that? Like, how do I integrate that or work with it? Really, really, really powerful combination of decks, and you guys saw it unfold in real time as I was seeing how they paired together in my walkthrough. If you haven't seen that, I will link that up in the cards. When you watch this, it's going to be that way, I think. Maybe it's that way. It might be up there. I don't remember. Okay, it's going to be up in a corner somewhere. Anyways, I'll link my video, because it all happened in real time. It was really powerful. So I keep them together now. And because one of them is edged in black, the Wisdom of the Shadow, and the other one's edged in this beautiful copper color. It kind of looks gold on camera, but it's copper. It's very easy for me to separate them out into their piles, but they live together like forever now, because they are just a duo, and I can't imagine not working with them like together at the same time, because they're very, very powerful and really, really cool decks. All right, you guys, that is it. Those are all the things that I did, worked with, remembered, watched, played with, ate, put on my face, etc. in May. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. These videos are a ton of fun to do. I really, really enjoy making them. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching the entire thing. If you did watch the entire thing, then somewhere in the comment that you leave down below about this video, use the code word SQUID, because they're so cute. Okay, guys, thank you so much. As always, do remember to do all the YouTube-y things. They help a lot. So click the like button, subscribe if you're not already, share this video with a friend. Sharing really helps me on the YouTube science-y thing. And don't forget to click the bell and sign up for all notifications. If your bell is solid, you are in good shape. Thank you all so much. And also, don't forget, I also have a channel membership here that functions almost exactly like a Patreon. It just stays right here on YouTube, so you don't have to go somewhere else to get the content. You can find a join link in the description box, or a join button next to the subscribe button down below. Check those out. If you don't see them, don't worry. It's probably the device you're on. Check from a different device like a computer, and you should be able to find that information. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me here. And I really appreciate you just putting your eyeballs on the space and hanging out with me, so I have someone to talk to about all the fun tarot and related things. So thank you all so much. And may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!